The Cowboys have been expected to be the kings of the NFC East, but while Dallas has been getting worse this offseason, one team specifically in the division has taken a major jump forward. The Eagles. Jalen Hurts is entering year 3 after a very successful season in 2021. There are so many reasons to be excited for the future in Philadelphia, but there's a lot you don't know. Even just taking away his talent, Jalen Hurts is the kind of guy you want running your franchise. Does it translate over to the field? Well, we're going to find that out even better soon, but his character is unmatched. Remember, he started his collegiate career at Alabama, and he took college football by storm. He helped the Crimson Tide all the way to the national championship as a freshman, but they lost. The next season, Hurts was a stud. 25 total touchdowns, 1 single interception. That is it. Alabama got all the way to the national championship, and then Hurts was benched for a true freshman, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua led the Crimson Tide back and won the title. But what really showed the guy that Hurts was that he stayed at Alabama. He didn't transfer. He stayed, competed for the starting job. He didn't win it, but he stayed at Bama, and he supported Tua. Then, after 2018, Hurts decided to transfer out to Oklahoma, and he had over 5,100 yards from scrimmage and 52 total touchdowns. Pure insanity of a stat line. He finished second in Heisman Trophy voting behind Joe Burrow. Hurts was a beast, and it helped him go in the second round at 53 to the Eagles at the 2020 NFL Draft. The Eagles did actually use Jalen Hurts even before he ever got the chance to start, just as a decoy though. Then Carson Wentz got benched in week 13, and Hurts got to start the rest of the season on a pretty bad Philly team. He went 1-3, passed for over 1,000 yards to go with 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Plus, he showed what kind of threat he can be in the rushing game, adding 354 yards and 3 touchdowns. Maybe it wasn't as much playtime as Philly would have hoped, but that's just how it goes. Luckily, come 2021, it was Hurts' team, and it actually went pretty well. The Eagles improved a lot. Philly went 8-7 with Hurts at the helm, and it came on the back of Hurts, who passed for over 3,100 yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, rushed for almost 800 yards, and had 10 rushing touchdowns. He was a Pro Bowl alternate, but more importantly, the Eagles made the playoffs. Unfortunately, it didn't go well. They got killed by the Bucs, but it was obvious the Eagles were headed in the right direction. So, what changed? Well, for one, the head coach. In 5 years, Doug Peterson had 3 winning seasons in Philly, and, well, most importantly, he won the city of brotherly love their first Super Bowl. So regardless of how things ended, be grateful for Peterson. Though he was fired after the 2020 season, and in came Nick Sirianni. Way back when, he played Division III ball, and he eventually played indoor football, but he found his way into coaching and made the jump to the NFL in 2009. He was with the Chiefs and Chargers before, in 2018, he finally became an offensive coordinator in Indianapolis. His last gig before finally Sirianni fulfilled the ultimate dream, becoming an NFL head coach. This is just a great fun fact. He actually grew up a Steelers fan. I mean, that is too funny for a guy that's now coaching in Philly. Outside of Nick Sirianni, the Eagles brought in another very important piece ahead of last season, Devonta Smith. Devonta played at Alabama with Jalen Hurts, and as we've seen, it's become a trend to pair up college quarterbacks with their wide receivers. Obviously, it worked really well for Joe Burrow after the Bengals took Jamar Chase in 2021. Then the Dolphins took Jalen Waddle, who also played at Alabama, with Tua. I guess the Eagles really just wanted to follow the trend, because then at 10, they took Devonta. He showed some really impressive flashes as a rookie, and he stayed healthy all season, recording over 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. It seemed clear that there was already a connection between Hurts and Devonta, but the Eagles needed to do more, and they did. It's not exactly a secret that the Eagles haven't been able to draft a wide receiver worth a shit. 2015, Nelson Aguilar in the first round. Bust. 2019, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in the second. Bust. And of course, 2020, Jalen Reagor in the first round, a bust taken 1 pick ahead of Justin Jefferson. I guess the Eagles finally got tired of swinging and missing at the draft and decided to, instead of selecting a bad receiver, why not just trade their first rounder and a third for a proven guy, A.J. Brown. Philly gave him a new 4-year, $100 million extension. Brown was a stud for the Titans. He had over 1,000 yards in his first 2 seasons, and despite missing 4 games last year with a chest injury, still had over 800 yards. He is a true number 1 wideout, like the Eagles have been looking for so long. Plus, Devonta Smith now gets the pleasure of not having to face a team's top corner. For the first time, the Eagles' receiving options are actually looking good. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and the likely 3, Quez Watkins. I don't think Quez is any kind of star, but he did have over 600 yards last year and already has a pretty good rapport with Jalen Hurts. At tight end, Dallas Goedert. He's a straight stud. He had over 800 yards in 2021. Plus, the Eagles love to use that by-committee approach at running back, and the top guy is Miles Sanders. He's an absolute firecracker, and he can either hit the holes in the run game or catch passes out of the backfield. Luckily for Hurts and Sanders, Philadelphia has a damn good offensive line. Jordan Mailata came out of nowhere as one of the league's best tackles last season. Lane Johnson is a beast on the right side, as always, and Jason Kelce is still there at center. Looking at the Eagles roster, especially the offense, it's clear that Philly has put Jalen Hurts in position to succeed. There were a lot of questions about whether or not Hurts was going to be able to be an NFL quarterback, and that's why he didn't get drafted until the late second round. But the Eagles are putting their future of the franchise on Hurts. Hurts doesn't have many excuses if he can't perform in 2022. And honestly, that sucks to say now as a Commanders fan, but the Cowboys have been the best team, at least roster-wise, for the last few seasons, and finally, well, I think that's changed. If you look around the NFC East, one of my questions is which teams actually got better and who got worse? Well, the Giants are having a fire sale, and they're clearly trying to rebuild. Daniel Jones isn't the guy. The Joe Judge experience was a disaster. I mean, it's a full reset mode. New York got worse. What's wild is so did the Cowboys. Amari Cooper is gone, Michael Gallup is hurt to start the season, and CeeDee Lamb has to learn how to be a number 1 wide receiver. I still think Dallas has a good receiving core, but if you would have told me the Cowboys didn't have the best wide receivers in the division in 2022, I would have been shocked. At the same time, I didn't think the Eagles would go out and trade for A.J. Brown. Plus, Dallas has some questions on the offensive line. Washington did get better. What matters with that question is how much better. Well, the only reason I say they're better is because, well, they have I don't know quite how to describe him, but a somewhat kind of good every once in a while Carson Wentz. Washington got better because Wentz is an upgraded QB. That's it. Meanwhile, the Eagles went out and got a top wideout in the league, and the defense is going to be much better. They drafted Jordan Davis, the behemoth of a stud out of Georgia, took linebacker Nakobe Dean too, who, by the way, I can't believe wasn't drafted in the first round, and signed Hassan Riddick, who I do think is a wildly underrated edge rusher. This Eagles roster is the best it's been since that magical Super Bowl run in 2018. But is Jalen Hurts going to be good enough to get Philadelphia in the playoffs?